Welcome. This class will be similar to my regular Vinyasa flow classes, although a little bit shorter. You might want to have either yoga blocks or something similar in size and consistency that you can use to lean on. That one's up to you. Let's get started in seated. Once you're sitting comfortably, close your eyes. Take a deep breath all the way down to your abdomen and exhale it out. Let's do 2 more of those. Take a deep breath in, filling up, and exhale it out. One more time like that. Deep breath in and exhale. You can let yourself continue breathing deeply at your own pace. Let your eyes blink open and bring your chin down to your chest. Slowly roll your right ear over toward your right shoulder. Take maybe a couple of breaths to get all the way over there so this left side of your neck starts to stretch out. And once your ear is hovering over your shoulder, extend your left arm all the way out to the left, bending your wrist so your palm faces away from you. And you can use a little extra pressure with your right hand on the top side of your head if you want. Extend your arm away from you so the stretch moves right from your fingertips through your arm and all the way into the side of your neck. Let's hold that for a few breaths. Release that arm down and just let your chin roll back to center. And we'll go to the other side. Roll your left ear over, taking your time. And then once your ear is hovering over your shoulder, you can extend your right arm out to the right. You might use your left hand for a little extra pressure. And as you press your palm away from you, just tilt your head over and lengthen right from your fingertips to your ear. Release that back to center. And bring yourself onto all fours. Once on hands and knees, rotate your hands around so that they face back toward you or out to the sides. You can linger here or add a little gentle pressure by leaning back and forward. And just think of this as awakening your hands, your fingers, and your wrists. So just go gentle. From here, rotate back around to normal and go in the other direction. Turn internally. This one's going to be a little more awkward feeling, so you might not rotate quite as far. And maybe add a little back and forward movement to it. Rotate back around to normal. And let's move into downward dog. Tuck your toes under. Let your hips lift up and back. And take a little time to play around with your alignment and then some movement. It might feel really nice to walk out your heels pressing downward with each heel As you do this, just let your neck be a little more relaxed. Press firmly with your hands and start to elongate your tailbone up and back. Let's settle into the pose for a few breaths. Then from downward dog, move forward to plank. Bring your shoulders over your palms. You might need to walk your toes back just a little further. Lift your abdominals in and bring your chest more forward until your body feels more like a straight line. And then holding that abdominal strength, bring your right knee toward your right arm. You can round out your back a little bit, contracting your core, and step back. And then try that with the left side, left knee toward left arm, and step back. So we'll just keep alternating right knee, step back, left knee, step back, right knee, back, left knee, back. Let's do one more of each. Right knee, back, left knee, step back, and push back into downward facing dog. From here, walk your palms in small steps backward toward your feet. Eventually you'll arrive at the back end of your yoga mat. Just let your knees soften, relax your neck and shoulders. And you can hang your arms, you can hold opposite elbows, you can hug your legs. It might feel nice to add a little movement. Just let your arms hang down, and with your knees slightly bent, start to roll up, making sure to use your hamstrings, your glutes to bring you up with a really strong back. Come all the way up to Tadasana, aligning yourself into a tall standing position. Take a breath here. Then inhale, reach your arms up over your head. And as you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway to a flat back. And exhale, fold forward. Then bringing your hands to the mat, walk your palms all the way forward to the top. Bring yourself forward into plank pose, just like we did before. Take one deep breath. Let your knees lower and come down slowly for a count of 5. 4, just warming up your arms a little for 3, 2, and 1. Land on your belly. Place your arms into cactus position on the floor beside you. Lift your arms a few inches away from the floor, contracting the backside of your shoulders. And then using your back muscles, lift your head and your chest as well. Still squeezing those muscles on the backside of the shoulder, bringing the shoulder blades a little closer together. You can activate all the way down your back muscles right into your glutes. Stretch your arms straight back with palms facing down. Engage your arms and lift, kind of like airplane wings. Hold. Bending your arms, place your hands beside your rib cage, squeeze your elbows inwards, still engaging those same back muscles and glutes. Maybe peel up just a little more into Cobra pose. And then you can stay there or press through your arms to rise up. This will be more of a high Cobra. You're still working those back muscles. Or you can raise your knees off of the ground for upward dog. From here, just take your time, transition back to downward facing dog. This time in downward dog, come up onto your toes and with small steps, walk your feet forward toward the top of the mat. Inhale, come up halfway to a flat back. Exhale and fold. Inhale, press through your feet, come all the way up, reach up. And exhale, Tadasana, standing tall. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, plant your hands and step back into plank pose. So last time we lowered down onto our bellies. You can do the same thing here or lower halfway for Chaturanga. And you can do this from your toes or from your knees. As you exhale, bend your elbows. You can come up into Cobra pose or upward facing dog from here. And then exhale, back into downward dog. Let's take about 4 more breaths here. As you look forward, inhale, bend your knees. Now you can choose either to step or lightly hop forward to the top. Come up halfway, inhale, and fold, exhale. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up, and exhale, Tadasana. Again, inhale, reach up, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back to plank. Lower halfway or all the way down for Chaturanga. Then inhale into upward dog or Cobra pose. And exhale back to downward dog. Keep that lengthening action of your tailbone lifting up and back, but at the same time, tone in your core muscles so you have lots of support for your back. As you inhale, look forward, bending your knees. Exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale to half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise and reach up. Exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back. Lower down through your Chaturanga, halfway or all the way down. Inhale to Cobra pose or upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, bend your knees. Exhale, step or hop lightly forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise and reach up. And exhale, Tadasana. Let's do 1 more of those. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back. Lower down through Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. In your downward dog, once you feel pretty grounded in your arms, send your right leg up toward the ceiling. Bend into your leg and roll your right hip open just to a comfortable amount. As you roll back through center, curl your right knee forward, shift your weight forward, keeping your hips high, and then step through with your right foot up to the top. Adjust your back foot for warrior one, turning out that foot about 45 degrees. Come up all the way, reaching up. And just take a little time to adjust your warrior one if you need to widen the stance or adjust your back leg. Start to activate down the back line of the legs, right from your glute muscles and your hamstrings. Soften the front of that left hip so you get those hip flexors to relax. And bring in that tone from your core. Keep your lower body just like that and take your left arm under your right as you would for eagle pose. You can wind your hands around together or wrap your hands onto your shoulders. Keep your core muscles strong and maybe add a little height, lengthening up with your spine, with your fingertips. You can add a slight extension as long as your lower back and your neck feel really comfortable. And really feel like you're breathing up toward the crown of your head and even down toward your feet. As you come back through center, tuck your elbows toward your belly button like you're doing a little crunch. Curl forward and just dip down to the inside of that right leg slightly. Engage your abdominals. And then inhale, lengthen, lift slightly. Exhale, tuck down a little more. Inhale, lengthen, lift slightly. Exhale, tuck down a little more. One more like that. Inhale, lengthen, lift slightly. Exhale, tuck down a little more. With strong legs, inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, release your arms. And inhale, take them back up overhead into warrior one. Now as you exhale, plant your hands, pivot back onto those left toes, and return your right leg to the sky, back into your three-legged downward dog, just giving that right leg a stretch. You could bend your knee, roll open the hip once again. This time, as you come through center, take your right knee toward your forehead, shift forward into your palms, and then inhale your leg up toward the ceiling. Exhale, knee toward forehead. Inhale, leg up. And one more like that, knee toward forehead. Inhale, leg up. We'll bring it through this time, knee toward forehead. Look to your hands, lift your hips a bit, step back to the top. This time maintain a lunge so that you're on the back toes and you might bring in a block underneath your left hand. We'll leave that left hand planted. Engage into your legs, turn toward the right and reach your right arm up. Squeeze upward into your hips and maintain your breath even as you twist. Exhale, lower your hand, turn toward the left and walk both hands around to the long edge of your mat facing toward the left. Organize your feet so that they're parallel to each other. Knees can be softened or bent. You can even bring a block under your hands. Start to fold forward, just gently softening your neck, your shoulders. You can place your hands out in front of you or walk your hands in between your feet gradually. It may feel nice to bring in some movement. You can bend one knee at a time, shifting your weight from side to side. Or it may feel nice just to settle into the pose for a few breaths. Then as you inhale, walk your fingertips forward to lengthen and begin to turn back toward the top of the mat, just rotating your feet around to the top once again. Lower your back knee down onto the floor and bring your right hand to the inside of your right leg, walking your right foot out a little wider. A block or even 2 blocks can be used under your hands to add some height. As you allow your hips to move into the lunge, it might feel nice to twist by bringing your right hand over to your right leg, turn toward the right, and then option to play around with bending up this back leg. So you're initially holding by the strength of your hamstring muscles. You can reach back toward your foot. And if your foot's within reach, you can take hold of it, drawing that foot closer to your body. Release that stretch and gently sweep your right leg back behind you until you arrive on all fours. Let's bring this into downward facing dog. Now here you can linger in downward dog for a few breaths, or to take a vinyasa, inhale, move forward to plank. Exhale, lower down through your chaturanga. Inhale to upward dog or cobra pose. And exhale back to your down dog. In downward dog, lift your left leg up toward the ceiling. Bend your knee, let your left hip roll open just to a comfortable amount. And as you come back through center, curl your knee forward, lifting your hips as you shift forward and step all the way up to the top with your left foot. Adjust your back leg for warrior 1. And as you ground into both feet, bring yourself all the way up into Virabhadrasana 1. Once you feel settled, start to work from the back side of that right leg. So you're pressing from your right glutes and hamstrings all the way into your heel. You're softening your right hip flexor muscles and adding in some core strength. This should give the pose a feeling of stability and strength, so your breath can help you lengthen up and ground down into your feet. We'll keep that and wrap your right arm under your left arm, either bringing your arms around to your shoulder blades or winding your hands around to bring palms together. Begin to lengthen. You can lengthen your spine and your torso. You can bring your fingertips up a little higher. You can add some slight extension to it. And let your breath travel all the way up to your fingertips and all the way down to your feet. As you travel back through center, tuck your elbows toward your belly button, contract your core, and dip just slightly to the inside of your left leg. Keep that core strong. Inhale, lengthen, lift slightly. Exhale, tuck down. Inhale, lengthen, lift slightly. Exhale, tuck down. And one more time. Inhale, lengthen, lift slightly. Exhale, tuck down. Keep your legs strong and inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, release your arms. Inhale, back to warrior one, reaching up. From warrior one, plant both palms. Pivot onto your right toes, and this left leg will go back and up toward the ceiling once again. Once you're in your three-legged dog, keep your core engaged. Bend your knee, let your hip roll open once again. And then as you come back through center, curl your knee toward your forehead, shifting forward. Inhale, raise your leg up, core stays strong. Exhale, knee toward forehead, shifting forward. Inhale, raise your leg up. One more like that. Exhale, knee toward forehead. Inhale, leg up. Now this time, let's bring it through. Exhale, knee toward forehead. Look a little forward, lift your hips, and step through with your left foot. We'll come into a lunge position. You can bring a block under your right hand if you like. Keep your legs grounded and turn toward the left, stretching your left arm toward the ceiling. Squeeze up into your hips a little more. Continue to draw your left hip back as you're lifting into the hips. Releasing your left hand down, turn toward the right and walk your hands around to the right. So you're coming back into that forward fold position. Now you can do the same as last time with hands on the mat or on a block in front of you. Or if you'd like to add a little more for the shoulders, keep your legs strong and bring your arms behind you, interlacing your fingers together, and just gently stretch your knuckles back. Release your hands, lengthen your spine, and turn back around to the top, walking your hands all the way around, pivoting your feet back into that lunge position. Lower your back knee. Bring your left hand to the inside of your left foot and walk your left foot out a little bit wider. You can add a block or two blocks under your hands. And you can stay like this or bring your left hand over to your left leg, turning to the left. You can also play around with bending your back knee, engaging your hamstrings, maybe reaching back or taking hold of your foot. Releasing that stretch. Take your left leg all the way back behind you so you return to hands and knees. And let's go to downward dog. Again, you can spend a few breaths here, or to take a vinyasa, bring yourself forward with your inhale. Exhale, lower down through your chaturanga. Inhale to cobra pose or upward dog. And exhale back to downward dog. This time in downward dog, bring your thumbs together so your hands will be a lot closer together. Bend into your knees and you're either gonna hop or step around your pinky fingers, which will bring your feet into position for squat. You can start to lower your hips down into your squat, into malasana. Bring your palms together in front of you, or even brace with your hands down on the floor. You can slip a block underneath you for some extra support. Keep your core toned so that your back is lengthened and strong. From here, to set up for Bakasana, start by lifting your hips up a little bit and bringing your palms down onto the mat. Once your hands are comfortable on the mat, bring your knees right up onto your triceps. Bring your knees and elbows inward toward the center line and just slowly shift a little weight forward into your hands. And one thing that you might do here is just go back and forward, starting to get used to the feeling of bringing weight into your hands. As you get comfortable with weight in your hands, bend your fingers and grip the mat. Squeeze your elbows and knees inward towards center. Start to engage your core muscles, and that's going to help you bring more weight into your hands and just start to get your feet off of the floor. You're squeezing in a bit more, squeezing upward into your belly. You can bring your feet higher toward your hips. Now I realize this pose is scary because your face is so close to the ground, so you might grab a pillow and just have that right in front of you for a little extra support as you're practicing this one. Let's meet back in Malasana in squat. Let your neck and shoulders relax, lengthen your spine. And then return to a forward fold. Lift your hips. Walk your feet back to about hip distance apart and relax your neck and shoulders. It might feel nice to bend your knees and slide your palms underneath your feet so that you're stepping onto your hands. This can feel especially nice after Bakasana. Removing your hands from under your feet, plant your palms. Step back slowly, and you can either choose to go right into downward dog or to take a vinyasa from plank pose lower down through your chaturanga. Inhale to upward dog or cobra, and exhale back into downward dog. Like before, lift up your right leg toward the ceiling. Bend into your knee, let your hip rotate. And we're going to bring it through. Knee draws through center, forward, and step up to the top. Pivot your back foot outward for warrior two, taking a little time to set up your legs. Engage your leg muscles as you bring your torso up, and then extend your arms parallel with the floor. Press downward into your feet and reach outward with your fingertips. Drop your left hand back onto your back leg and reach your right arm up and over just into a little side bend. As you come back through center, straighten your front leg, reach slightly forward, and lower your right hand onto your right leg or onto a block or a prop. And once that right hand's grounded, then you can reach your left arm up, extend your arms apart, engage your legs and your core muscles. We'll take a few breaths here in Trikonasana. Lower this left hand onto your hip, and as you look down, bend into your front leg and step your back foot up closer and move your front foot a little bit further back, just so you have room to place your right hand or block about 1 foot ahead. And you can line this up with your baby toe. From there, take your weight forward, leaning into your hand and your right leg, and just play around with bringing this left leg up. Same energy from the legs as we did in Trikonasana. Energy and strength in your core. An option to keep your left hand to your hip, or you can play around with reaching up. From here, bend into your standing leg and lower down that left foot. As you come up, you can adjust your stance back to warrior two. Then bring your hands around to the mat. Step back from here. You can take a vinyasa or maybe just take a few breaths in downward dog. Lift your left leg up. Bend your knee. Just let your left side roll open. Bring it through center and step all the way up with your left foot to the top. Adjust your back foot for warrior two and bring yourself up with strong legs, extending your arms parallel. In warrior two, rest your right hand onto your back leg and stretch your left arm up and over into a side bend. Keep lengthening both sides of your body. As you come back through center, straighten your front leg. Stretch forward with your left side and bring your left hand onto your left leg or use a block. Reach up with your right hand. Take the sway out of your lower back just by engaging the core in and press into both legs. Bringing your right hand to hip, look down, bend up your front knee, step your back foot a little closer and move your front foot a little further back, and that gives you some room to place your left hand or block about a foot or so ahead of your baby toe. Shift your weight into your left leg and left hand and play around with raising up this right leg. Keep the core strength on. Option to keep your right hand to hip or to reach your right arm up. Bend your standing leg and slowly step back with your right foot. You can adjust your feet back into warrior two. Bring your hands around to the mat. Step all the way back, and you can go into downward dog or maybe take one more vinyasa. Lower down your knees onto the mat for child's pose. Let your knees open a bit wider as your hips stretch back, and you can lower your forehead down. From child's pose, come forward onto your hands and knees. Walk your knees closer to the top end of the mat and just sit back gradually. If you find this to be uncomfortable on your knees, your ankles, you can tuck either a block or a pillow under your hips. Just slip that right between your heels. Sit back just so your body's more elevated off of the heels. You can stay upright or even lean forward, or you can bring your hands back behind you and lean back to lengthen out the front side of your thighs. If you're pretty comfortable sitting back between your heels, you might go back further onto your elbows or shoulder blades. But just take your time, make sure that this feels good in all of the joints. Take your time to rise back up. Lift gently off of your heels or props and swing your legs around to the top end of the mat. Lie all the way down onto your back. Let your legs stretch out for a few breaths. From here, set up for bridge pose, bending your knees, place both feet on the mat, and have some distance between your hips and your heels. Once your feet are grounded into the mat, squeeze your glutes to lift your hips up. So keep squeezing those muscles as you lift up. That's going to help open up this front side of the hips and thighs. Bring a little core strength in, dropping the bottom ribs down. And you can choose to have your arms beside you, or you can play around with bringing your arms under your body and interlacing your hands together. Release your hands and lower down onto the mat, and you can choose to open your knees out to the sides, or keep them where they are, or even straighten out your legs for a few breaths. Set up a second round, bringing your feet back onto the mat. You can have your hands beside you, or if you want to play around with the setup for your wheel pose, take your hands above your shoulders, just tucking your fingers in by your deltoids. Get the feel of your palms onto the mat, and start with your glutes, squeezing to lift your hips up. You can hold your bridge pose here, just playing around with that feeling of weight into the hands. Or if you'd like, you can press through your hands and start to lift away from the ground into your wheel pose. Keep that strength from your glutes, a little bit of core strength toned in. And slowly lower yourself down onto the mat. Rest into a comfortable position. As you're resting, you'll hear my dog snoring in the background. So let's put on a little music. This time, as you bring your knees up, walk your feet out a bit wider toward the edges. Let your knees fall in. You can also bring your arms into cactus position if you like, and then just rotate your knees over to the right and over to the left. You'll also hear my cat howling in the background. to center and walk your feet in. Slowly curl your knees to your chest. And as you hug your knees in, it might feel good to even just roll around on your back a few times and massage your back muscles. Lower your feet to the floor and cross your right ankle to your left thigh, coming into a thread the needle position. As you bring your legs in, reach your arms through and interlace your hands around your hamstrings or around your left shin. If that feels too intense on the hip, just leave your left foot planted and you can gently press the right knee away. Keeping your ankles still crossed, lower your left foot onto the mat if it's not there, and wrap your right leg over more tightly, kind of like you would sitting cross-legged. Lift and shift your hips over to the right side of the mat and let your knees twist over to the left. As you twist, you can open your right arm out to the right, very gently winding your shoulder blade down. And just remember, if this gets uncomfortable, you can uncross and stack your knees instead. Come back through center. And cross your left ankle over your right thigh for your thread the needle. You can leave your right foot there or bring the legs closer and thread your arms through. Release your right foot down if it's not. Cross your left leg over more tightly. Lift and shift your hips a little bit to the left and twist your knees over to the right. And as you twist, you can open your left arm to the left. Yourself all the way back to center, unwind, and stretch yourself out into a comfortable position for Shavasana. If you have any props with you, like a pillow or a blanket, feel free to add those in. You might slip a pillow under your knees or cover yourself up. We'll just take a few minutes to enjoy Shavasana. bring some movement back. And just take some time to begin to awaken and stretch. You can move any props that you might be using off to the side. Stretch your arms all the way overhead and slowly roll onto one side from there. Gradually bring yourself to a seated position on your mat. And to close off, bring your palms in together. Take one more nice full breath in. And exhale it all out. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope this practice brings some energy and some connection into your day. And I hope to see you on your mat again soon. Namaste.